Good morning. I am Drill Sergeant Leader Hammersley, your Master of Ceremony. We would like to extend a warm welcome to distinguished guests, families, and friends to the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy graduation ceremony for Class 005-25.
WOLFPACK!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party, the invocation given by Chaplain Gregory Jackson, and the playing of our national anthem.
We also thank you for all that have made this graduation day a reality. We now ask your blessings on these graduates as they walk across this stage this morning and into a new chapter of their lives. As one of meeting a long line of professionals who have answered the call to become United States Army Drill Sergeants, we ask that you grant them the strength and endurance to do the job they have been trained to do. We ask you grant them courage to be men and women of integrity in all they say and do. And we ask that you will grant them wisdom as they lead the next generation of America's sons and daughters to become American soldiers. We also thank you for the families and friends gathered here this morning supporting their loved ones. Be with us today as we celebrate a milestone in the lives of these new drill sergeants and bless them as they embark on this new path. For it is your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Since 1964, drill sergeants have been responsible for training our Army's volunteer fighting force. Fort Jackson is home to the only drill sergeant academy in our Army and is responsible for providing drill sergeants to every training center across the initial military training enterprise. Since its inception, the purpose of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Program has been to transform sergeants into drill sergeants, who in turn have the responsibility to transform civilians into soldiers, our national treasure. The thousands of American young men and women who have volunteered to answer the call of a grateful nation. The job of the drill sergeant is one of a professional trainer, coach, mentor, and leader. This is not an easy or simple job, and it comes with sacrifices that each drill sergeant must make in order to perform this extremely important mission. Those who are graduating today will spend the next 2 to 3 years on the trail training the next generation of our Army. The phrase, "on the trail," comes from the frontier days when cattle were driven from California to Colorado to be marketed. The original drill sergeants coined this phrase because of the similar process of moving soldiers from one place to another with few problems or loss along the way. There is a continued effort to move drill sergeants to that high degree of excellence and expertise for which they are known. The drill sergeant course is both stressful and challenging. The 9 weeks of training are broken down into 12-hour days, adding up to 446 hours of instruction. This training is a privilege reserved for the best of the best. Only the top 10% of all sergeants, Army-wide, are eligible to attend the drill sergeant course. Not all sergeants complete this difficult period of training. On January 23rd, 2025, 143 candidates arrived. During the course, 36 sergeants were removed for various reasons, with one being inserted, resulting in the 107 that are graduating here today. Those graduating represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit drill sergeants who exemplify the drill sergeant creed. All 107 drill sergeants truly are the proud example of our Army and will undoubtedly transform the next generation of civilian volunteers into soldiers that are fully capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. A drill sergeant is the most challenging and rewarding assignment a non-commissioned officer will ever experience. They must transform civilians into soldiers and prepare those soldiers to fight and win in today's complex world. Ladies and gentlemen, identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeant leaders responsible for the training and mentoring of today's graduating class. Drill sergeant leaders instruct the course in small groups of 20 candidates on average. They are highly motivated, professional, and seasoned drill sergeants who have a minimum of 1 year experience in the initial entry training environment from any of the 4 training centers and advanced individual training locations. They were hand-selected to serve as drill sergeant leaders. As a result of demonstrating expert leadership, mastery of warrior tasks and battle drills, and consistently performing at the top 1% of their peers. In addition, all have completed the TRADOC Drill Sergeant Leader Certification Program. Please join me in a round of applause for their hard work and dedication. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy, Command Sergeant Major Joshua R. Vital.
Woo! Here we go! Pump me up!
Woo!
Right? Woo! Yay! Alright, so we're gonna, now it's my test. You see I brought the energy. Now you're gonna have to reciprocate when I ask you this, or ask you this question. I'll give you this statement. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a little better. We've got about 82%. Good morning, Command Sergeant Major Alcedo, my good friend, JP. Distinguished guests, Colonel Dwyer, thanks for coming out this morning. Families and friends, thank you for joining us today for the Drill Sergeant Academy graduation ceremony for Class 00525. From the attendance today, it is clear these drill sergeants have amazing families and friends supporting them. What a great day to be an American soldier. An even better day to be here surrounded by the future of the United States Army, represented by the Army's newest drill sergeants graduating here today. The fact that the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy is the gold standard for NCO development and cadre certification is clearly on display today. My name is Command Sergeant Major Josh Bile. I am the Commandant, proudly serving alongside the most highly motivated and well-trained drill sergeants in the United States Army. A drill sergeant is the standard bearer for the United States Army and the very epitome of what we expect of a soldier. They are the Army's standard bearers, living the Army values, exemplifying the warrior ethos, and are guardians of the Army profession. Drill sergeants are responsible for coaching, teaching, motivating, inspiring, and mentoring the future of the Army as they transform them from civilians to combat-ready soldiers. A typical day as a drill sergeant starts before dawn and ends well after sundown. Drill sergeants are the first impression for every trainee and all that they know of the Army. They will emulate you, drill sergeant. Being a drill sergeant is one of the most demanding and difficult jobs in our Army. It is also one of the most rewarding. How critical a drill sergeant is to our Army cannot be understated. Nor can the sacred trust that is being bestowed on you today. American families across this great land entrust you with their prized possession, their children. The future of America is being placed in your care for the most formative time in their Army careers, certainly. But I would also say in their lives. Your impact will last a lifetime. Just as you remember your drill sergeants and I remember mine, Drill Sergeant, Staff Sergeant Ronnie Bush, Drill Sergeant First Class Roderick McCottrell, 28 years ago. So will the soldiers you train remember you. Will you be remembered for how you invested in them, believed in them when they didn't believe in themselves, always enforced the standard, and challenged them to keep going? Or will you be remembered for something else? Class 00525, congratulations on accomplishing this daunting challenge. You met or exceeded every standard. You surmounted every obstacle, but the challenge is just beginning. Enjoy the time between now and when you report. Take time to reflect on the challenge that lies ahead and what you hope to achieve. There will be times when you are tired, hot, cold, hungry, and more. Look to your battle buddies during those times and spur one another along. Your experience as a drill sergeant will be directly impacted significantly by the battle buddies you have and the one you are. The task is great. You are charged with nothing less than training tomorrow's leaders. The Army, the country, and the Constitution are depending on you. Today's guest speaker is Command Sergeant Major Jean-Pierre Alcedo. He completed one station unit training at Fort Sioux, Oklahoma as a 13 Bravo Cannon crew member so long ago that his bio doesn't even mention it. I assume it is last millennium, much like myself. Also, like myself, he is a proud graduate of USASMA Class 66, driving force. He has held every leadership position in the Field Artillery CMF, including the Fire Center of Excellence Command Sergeant Major. And he presently serves as the U.S. Combat Readiness Center Command Sergeant Major. The long list of assignments in numerous organizations demonstrate his exceptional performance, character, and stewardship of the profession. Please join me in welcoming our guest speaker and my good friend, Command Sergeant Major Alcedo. And everybody be the Commandant.
That's right. Good morning, family and friends. Thank you, Commandant, for allowing me the honor to join you today for this significant occasion, as we honor the hard work of these new drill sergeants. Congratulations, NCOs. You're about to become the newest drill sergeants in the best army in the world. This past couple of months have brought you to a pivotal point in your career. After all your hard work, we're here. Your family, friends, Army leaders, and distinguished guests are here to celebrate your achievements. As a drill sergeant, your impact will last a lifetime. Just as you remember your drill sergeants, your soldiers will remember you. Drill times have a profound impact on new soldiers, reshaping them from civilians into disciplined, resilient, and values-driven members of the Army. Your influence extends beyond your training. You instill confidence, discipline, and a warrior mindset that lasts throughout a soldier's career. You'll be one of the first military leaders that new soldiers encounter. You will set the tone by demonstrating Army values, discipline, and professionalism in everything you do, and teach these young recruits. You will set the standard. When you leave here today and enter into this new and big responsibility, families across this great country are trusting you to care for their sons and daughters. Every mom, dad, grandmother, grandfather, brother, and sister expects you to treat their young soldiers with dignity and respect. Their families expect you to embody all the Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And ensure the loved one is trained in accordance with those same values. As leaders, you will ingrain Army values in your soldiers through a combination of leading by example, instructor training, mentorship, and consistent reinforcement. Soldiers watch leaders closely, so demonstrating the Army values in your daily action is crucial. Like most of us do, you remember specific incidents where your own drill sergeants embodied these values or set an example of what not to do. New soldiers come from diverse backgrounds, but as drill sergeants, you will break down individualism and build a team-first mentality through shared hardship, teamwork, exercises, and unit drills. Soldiers learn to rely on one another, their first battle buddy. I still remember my first battle buddy, and I give him a call once in a while. Soldiers who develop a strong bond that define the Army culture as well. Beyond physical training and discipline, you will help soldiers transition from civilian to military life. You will teach soldiers how to think, act, and respond as warriors, ready to serve, protect, and uphold the Army's mission. Before I wrap up, let's discuss one thing I know you'll love to hear about: safety. I know. Everyone dislikes all the mandatory safety briefs before a long weekend or block leave. And hearing terms safety always seems like added or unnecessary work. But as you embark on your journey as drill sergeants and train young soldiers to be combat readiness soldiers, you have the opportunity to set the standard. Aside from the safety brief and all the checklists, safety is taught in the way you lead and the example you set. Even when nobody's watching, I will share a personal story. Right? A brand new private Alcedo, first duty station, first week of work. A young sergeant told me to get in the vehicle and drive him to another motor pool to pick up some parts. And I remember what my drill sergeant said. He said, "Don't ever use the equipment you've never been trained on." And I told our sergeant I was not trained in that equipment. I can't drive, I don't even have a driver's license. So just remember that. As stated in the SEO Creed, all soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership. I will provide that leadership. I know my soldiers, and I will always place their needs above my own. This includes doing everything in your power to keep them safe. You will be the first leader these young privates will encounter as they leave the civilian world behind and start their own Army journeys. You have the opportunity to make a lasting impact, to show them what right looks like. Many soldiers look back on their drill sergeants as the most influential figure in their military career, as the Commandant talked about. The lessons learned, discipline, resilience, teamwork, and values carry forward into their service, shaping them as a soldier and leader. As drill sergeants, you just don't train soldiers, you transform them. This is just the beginning. Go forth and be the leader you will have one yourself to have. Achieve your goals as well. Don't forget that. While enabling young minds to set their own goals, the future of America is in your hands. And I'll leave you with this quote from the great Sergeant Major of the Army, Robert E. Hull. Soldiers do what they're told to do. It's leadership. That's the key. Young men and women join the Army if they're with competent, confident, capable leaders. They're turned into good soldiers. Thank you again. Have a blessed day, and this was the fan.
Drill and ceremony is the basis for standards and discipline in the initial entry training environment. During the course, the drill sergeant candidates are instructed and assessed on their ability to perform and teach drill and ceremony positions and movements, culminating with a drill and ceremony competition. The squad that displayed the highest level of proficiency is awarded the drill and ceremony trophy to be displayed until the following cycle. For Class 005-25, the drill and ceremony competition winner is 2nd Platoon, 1st Squad, who was commanded by Drill Sergeant Brandon Baker. Please join me in a round of applause for the winning squad of the drill and ceremony competition. At the Drill Sergeant Academy, it is tradition to appropriately recognize those who are distinguished themselves by their outstanding performance. In keeping with this tradition, the following awards are presented. The Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle is the Drill Sergeant Leader who displayed the highest contribution to the entire platoon, created an impeccable learning environment, and displayed a standard for all graduating drill sergeants to follow. For Class 005-25, the Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle is Drill Sergeant Leader Xaviera Claiborne. Please join me in a round of applause for the Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle. Senior Drill Sergeant Leader Taylor Hicks will now present the graduating class their distinctive headgear. Please hold your applause and cheering until the awardees have been acknowledged. The Leadership Award is presented to the candidate who has displayed the highest degree of professionalism and demonstrated sound judgment while performing in leadership positions. The Leadership Award recipient and member of the Commandant's List is Drill Sergeant Andrew Britt, Fort Benning, Georgia.
All right.
The Iron Drill Sergeant Award is given to the candidates who displayed the highest degree of physical fitness during the Iron Drill Sergeant Fitness Test. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award recipients are Drill Sergeant Spencer Backman, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Alma Lopez Oliveros, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia. Each awardee will be presented with a token of appreciation and support for exceeding the standards while in the course. The Drill Sergeant Academy would like to express sincere gratitude to First Command for donating these awards. Please join me in a round of applause for the awardees. The following drill sergeants have exceeded the course standards, demonstrated exceptional physical fitness, and maintained a grade point average in the top 20% of their graduating class. For these achievements, they are rightfully placed on the Commandant's list. Drill Sergeant Monty Perkins, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia. Please join me in a round of applause for the Commandant's list. Ladies and gentlemen, the following drill sergeants are graduates of Class 005-25. Please hold your applause and cheering until the last drill sergeant is acknowledged.
Drill Sergeant Matthew Amavisca, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Daniel Ariano, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Brandon Baker, Hartsville, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Nicholas Barnes, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Tyler Baptiste, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Desmarie Bedford, Fort Leonardwood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Joshua Benavides, Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
Drill Sergeant Warren Pettit, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Isaiah Blair, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Brandon Wade, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Betty Bodie, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Matthew Bostic, Fort Leonardwood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Colby Briscoe, Fort Greg Adams, Virginia.
Drill Sergeant Ronald J. Bostic, Fort Leonardwood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant James Bradley, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Matthew Bostic, Fort Leonardwood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Matthew Bostic, Fort Leonardwood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Colby Briscoe, Fort Greg Adams, Virginia.
Daniel Colby, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
All right.
Drill Sergeant Christopher Cornett, Fort Littlewood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Hugo Corona, Fort Zip, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant David Crawley, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Caleb Hughes, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Briar Daniels, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Fernando Davis, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Kwamisha Davis, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Hoorah! Drill Sergeant Tommy D, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Wilder Hill, Fort Leavenworth, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Ryan Percio, 108 Trading Command. Drill Sergeant Scott Duncan, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Taylor Elizondo, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia.
Roger that, Sarge.
Drill Sergeant Aldu Elliott, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Abraham England, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Alex Fishbacher, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Richard Flores, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Demetrius Forrest, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Scott Gallagher, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Jesse Gilbert, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Robert Glover, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Zachary Harris, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia.
Go, Big Zach.
Shemai Hazel, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Coleman Herndon, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Brandon Hickman, Fort Littlewood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Scott Howell, Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Alicia Jefferson, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant David Jimenez, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Eric Yoder, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Terry Johnson, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Roll Tide.
Drill Sergeant Gary Johnston, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Madison Carney, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Lieutenant Lamani, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Joseph LeBoyne, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Jacob Little, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Samuel Lovato, Fort Leonard, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Manuel Luca Rivas, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Esteban Martinez, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Jerry McIntyre, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant David Mejia, 108, Training Command.
Drill Sergeant Diana Montez, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Gabriel Morales, Fort Buchanan, Puerto Rico. Drill Sergeant Yoshimi Moreno, Fort
Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Haley Oliver, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Ivan Ortega, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Jesse Padilla, Fort Buchanan, Puerto Rico.
Drill Sergeant Devontae Parker, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Karen Poe, Presidio, Monterey, California. Yeah!
Drill Sergeant David Porter, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Christopher Rosa, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Trenton Real, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Curtis Wrinkle, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Mario Rios, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Patrick Robinson, Fort Greg Adams, Virginia.
Drill Sergeant Pedro Rodriguez, Fort Buchanan, Puerto Rico.
Drill Sergeant Nick Rose, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Joshua Russell, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Dylan Ryan, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Maylene Santos, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Aaron Scheller, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
AG all the way.
Drill Sergeant Anthony Clausen, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Francisco Silos, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Shane Smith, Cape Pendleton, Virginia. Drill Sergeant Justin Steiner, Fort McCloy, Wisconsin. Drill Sergeant Anthony Stubbs, Fort Greg Adams, Virginia.
Carolina. Hell yeah. Drill Sergeant Zachary Union, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Nathaniel Verduzco.
Hey boy, that's my boy.
Drill Sergeant Adam Walsh, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Ziching Wall, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Eric Ward, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Sean Warnock, City of Monterey, California.
Drill Sergeant Crystal Warren, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Charles White, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Jonathan Weiss, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Dylan Williams, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Judy Williams, Fort Eisenhower, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Maxwell Wyndham, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Joel Wise, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant John Wright, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Vaughn Wright, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Raymond Hughes, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the Army's newest drill sergeant.
Good job, Kara! Fran.
At this time, Leadership Awardee, Drill Sergeant Andrew Britt, will present a token of appreciation to the guest speaker, Command Sergeant Major Jean-Pierre Alcedo.
On behalf of Class 005-25,
WOLFPACK!
thank you for the words of wisdom and kindness.
You have become what you set out to be, a drill sergeant in the United States Army. The Drill Sergeant Creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. At this time, drill sergeants past and present, please stand as the drill sergeant leader of the cycle, Drill Sergeant Leader Xaviera Claiborne, leads the graduating class in reciting the Drill Sergeant Creed. The Drill Sergeant Creed is not a creed for every non-commissioned officer in the Army. The honor and privilege is given to those non-commissioned officers to transform America's sons and daughters from civilians to soldiers, to fight and win the wars of this great nation.
Let's well the flag!
I am a drill sergeant.
I will assess each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military merit and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I will not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song and remain standing for the departure of the official party.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. When it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Down off the gate, it's loud and strong. Wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Right? Hey! Oh, forward. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated as the drill sergeants of class 005-25 exit the building. You will be able to join them shortly.
Right!